I would like to start this off by giving Donald Trump a huge compliment. He is invaluable in my political journey. He has caused me to pay attention to everything more passionately. He has caused me to go through with a fine-tooth comb and look deeper to see the lice that are infesting the scalp of America. I'm looking at it. It's dragging on. We are, as of me making this video, at day 37. Day 37 of the government shutdown. This is the second time this has happened. And I want to be very concise when I say this. I feel as though Donald Trump's strategy at the beginning, perhaps, was to make people hate the Democratic Party, right? Make air traffic controllers hate them, make the veterans who can't get their checks. People on EBT say, hey, the Democrats are doing this. You guys should hate the Democrats. But they're not going to remember the Democrats doing this because they're going to remember that you are the president. People aren't smart enough to look and say, oh, who's really behind this? But they are smart enough to say, you're the president. Because your base that tried to go to the Kentucky polls and vote against Mamdani. That's a real event that happened. They went to the polls in Kentucky, I believe it was Kentucky or Texas. I'll put it on screen. They went to the polls to try to vote against Mamdani in New York, which they can't do because Mamdani isn't on the polls in that specific state. Can't do that. It's not possible. So that's your base. This to me is not a shutdown. No. Shutdown implies perhaps a temporary pause. My computer shut down, it loads back up, it goes running again, it's right back there. A system safely powering down. That's what I think a shutdown is. This to me is systemic seizure. The gears of the republic have been deliberately jammed by a faction that would rather watch the entire machine shudder to a smoking halt than lose a simple argument. Donald Trump, not once, that I can ever recall, unless somebody can point it out to me, has ever admitted he was wrong. Not once. It takes humility to admit when you're wrong. It takes shame. It takes something that all humans have. We are now in uncharted territory. We have never had this happen before. Day 37, we have surpassed a record of decay. This is the record we have. It's dumb. It's as if you're a patient on life support for longer than any other patient in history. Not because there's not even hope for recovery. The family is arguing over the inheritance on the bedside and you're just stuck. And this is not a mystery about why we're having this shutdown. It is a naked power struggle, using human suffering as the primary currency of everybody. The fight over ACA subsidies isn't some abstract ideological debate. It's just a calculated gambit. One side has looked at the map, they looked at it, they used the cartography, they said, okay, all right, the pains of millions, the delayed SNAP benefits, the frozen WIC vouchers, the shuttered Head Start programs, okay, that's an acceptable price to pay for political leverage because it's not affecting me. This is hostage taking. The chief negotiator, the one who can end this all with the phone call, is not making that call. He is instead polishing his image as a fighter, proving his strength by seeing how long the hostage can last without food, and we are the hostage. You know, during this entire shutdown, ICE, a federal agent that is taking some of the roughest and toughest criminals from the streets, obviously, is still funded. Now, I was inspired a little bit by ICE when I had witnessed that they weren't getting paid. I said, wow, that's really resilient and proud of them. But then I saw that they were getting paid and I was a little bit confused, a little bit perturbed, one might say, a little bit upset, one might say. The economic data has gone dark. Think about the profound, terrifying symbolism of that. We are now a nation flying blind. Markets, businesses, retirees, they're all making trillion-dollar decisions in an information vacuum because the very institutions designed to make the economy's vital signs have been furloughed. And this is costing the economy $15 billion a day. Look at that. $15 billion. $15 billion a week. I apologize. It's been a week. It's a week. It's a week. $15 billion a week. Or is it a day? You can see it on screen, right? Either whether it be a week or a day, 15 billion is not a number to scoff at. This is national self-sabotage. This borders on life ending. It tells the world the American political system is no longer capable of its most basic function, keeping the lights on. That's it. That's all it has to do is keep the lights on. And I want to talk about this cruel, engineered inequality. The essential services that remain funded are a telling list. As we've established, the machinery of state coercion, the deportation flights, the border control, the detention centers, all those run without interruption. The muscle that flexes state power is well fed. You need protein, obviously, you need protein. But the sinews that connect the citizen to the state, the food assistance, the educational grants, the environmental protections, those are severed. When you don't want to feed or nourish the minds of an entire nation, and you would much rather fund the brutality of it, what does that tell you? The state's ability to punish is non-negotiable, but its ability to provide, that's obviously optional. This is the legacy being forged in real time. It is not that this is the longest shutdown. Is that it represents a fundamental breakdown in the concept of a shared national project. We are no longer a body politic. We are a collection of warring organs. And one of them has decided to stop the heart to prove a point to the lungs. That's what we are. That's what's happening with us. That's all that's happening with us. The generational damage that is going to happen is crazy. It's not about the missed paychecks or lapsed benefits. No. It is the lesson being taught to every young person that watching that the institutions you were taught to rely on are fragile. Politics is not as tightly knit as you thought. I remember when I was younger, and I had always thought those guys in suits and their $1 million cars, I thought they had it all figured out, that they had a system of things that I would never be able to understand. Their language was precise and confounding. I thought it was beautiful to witness all these things. I had assumed incorrectly that for some reason they knew what they were doing. That's what I thought. I had thought that. But I've been wrong. I've been wrong so often. I was reading an article today on The Onion. I was reading an Onion article. And when I saw the Onion article, it said, I believe it said this. I'm going to put it on screen. It said, Donald Trump has put a 25% tariff on Trump products in China. This does not feel like a joke article at all. Not even slightly. I read this. I didn't get a laugh out of it. I thought that's probably what he'd do. It's the absurdity. It's the most galling part. The people who orchestrate this crisis are not the ones feeling the effects, because they are still getting paid. They're not standing in line at a food bank. They're not explaining to their children why there's no money for groceries. They are in studios and marbled halls, framing this act of national sabotage as a principled stand. This is the ultimate perversion of leadership, inflicting pain you do not have to endure for a victory that benefits only your own political brand. So when we see the history books written, and I'll be there for it, this will not be remembered as a bold stand for principle. It will be remembered as the moment American governance revealed its rot. The record that has been broken is a testament to rot and failure and disgust. It's stupid. It is the record of how long a political system can hold its own people hostage before something finally breaks. And the man whose name is on that record will not be remembered as a fighter. The man, the president, will be remembered as an arsonist who proudly watched his house burn down simply to prove he owned the matches. That is it. That's all he's doing. And I want to stop pretending this is complicated. I want to. Because they're just being mean. As kindergarten as it sounds for me to say that, they're just being mean. The cable news, graphics, all this other stuff, the talk of continuing resolutions and appropriations bills. What are we witnessing is not some policy dispute. It's just being mean. It's just being mean. This is not an oops. Oh, oops. This is a because we can, we will. The architecture of the shutdown is such a masterpiece of malicious design. Notice how the pain is not distributed randomly. It is strategically precise. The functions of government that will provide a semblance of a safety net, the food stamps, the housing vouchers, the national program, the nutritional programs for infants. These are the first to be thrown overboard. They are deemed non-essential because they're poor people. They hate poor people so much. You know, being homeless is illegal? I didn't know that. I didn't know being homeless was illegal. What are you supposed to do? Die? The functions that reinforce the hierarchies, all the caging of human beings, those are essential. That's mean, right? They will speak in the language of difficult choices of fiscal responsibility. That's a lie. This is a man standing in a supermarket. His cart is overflowing with filet mignon and vintage wine, telling the person behind him with a loaf of bread and a carton of milk that they need to make sacrifices for the budget. The money is always there. It is always there for the fighter jets, for the corporate subsidies, for the tax cuts that flow upwards as if they were a reverse waterfall. The scarcity is a fiction. The staged managed crisis designed to justify the pre-existing desire to dismantle the very idea of the public good. Why are so many people so angry that they are helping people? Well, it's my tax money. My tax money should go to what I want. Really? What do you want? Stronger military and illegal immigrants out. What happens when we get all the illegal immigrants out? Well, then you may be able to help poor people. It would be nice if we all had a starting same foot. Not everybody starts the same. I've discovered that people around them think that everybody has the same start. It's not even close to true. It's not. It's not true. I didn't have the same start. Not at all. Everybody has a different start. Every man is not created equally. Some are born swifter of foot. Some are born taller. Some are born with more intellect. That's humans. That's what it is. If there is a way we can make this more even, that'd be great. The people making these decisions do not know anyone who relies on Snap. They don't know anybody that relies on Snap. They have never met a family that will have to choose between insulin and electricity because a WIC voucher was delayed. Their social circles do not include the federal janitor or the TSA agent who will be visiting a pawn shop to make rent. This suffering is abstract to them. It is a statistic because they can't see the people. It is a line item they can leverage. For them, this is a game of high stakes power. For millions of people, it is a game of Russian roulette with their children's well-being. This is why there is no urgency in their voices. This is why they can go on television and speak in calm, measured tones about principled stands. A principle that allows a child to go hungry is not a principle, it is a pathology. A stand that forces a veteran to wait for a disability check is not a stand. It is an act of violence. They have commodified human desperation. They have taken the anxiety of a single mother and turned it into a bargaining chip. The goal is not to win a political argument. The goal is to demoralize, to normalize the idea that your survival is conditional, that your government support is a temporary charity that can be revoked the moment it becomes inconvenient for the powerful. It is a lesson in powerlessness. They are teaching you your place. They are showing you that you are not a stakeholder. I think the most devastating weapon in our arsenal, what I would say, is the simple fact of the matter that we have this collective numbness to this all. It's so ridiculous, right? We have been conditioned to not see this as moral outrage. This is politics as usual. We scroll past the headlines, we sigh, we accept the premise that this is just how the game is played. But this is not a game. Games have rules and conclusions. This is a slow motion dismantling of the social contract. And the other side isn't even pretending to play by the rules anymore. No one cares. When you feel that knot in your stomach, when it all feels unbearably mean, do not dismiss that feeling. That is your humanity correctly diagnosing the situation. This is not a disagreement. It is a big display of contempt. It is the powerful showing the powerless the precise dimensions of their cage. The cruelty is not a bug in the system. It is the system's most prominent feature. This is not a shutdown. This is a sanctioned attack on the poor. It's what it is. It's what's happening right now. I hate this a lot.
I'm your Nick and night, be my Laurel, low. Happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. I love the ride when you